Coming up tonight on YCN News, an explosion destroys a building in Ludlow, Vermont. The results from the Cornish School Board meeting. And we'll learn about a very healthy hamburger alternative. For more news, sports, and weather, it's time for YCN, your local view.
Now, your daily digest of the Dartmouth Lake Sunapee region, southern Vermont, and Windsor County. News, sports, weather, and all that is happening in our area. The news on YCN, your local view.
Good evening and welcome to the Tuesday edition of YCN News. I'm Laura James. An explosion Sunday night that destroyed a Vermont hotel in downtown Ludlow is not of suspicious nature. That, according to a state fire investigator. The Best Western explosion at 9:30 p.m. caused about $500,000 worth of damage, though. Two investigators from the state's Public Safety Fire Investigation Unit determined yesterday the origin of the explosion is from an oil-fired water heater. Now, what exactly caused the explosion remains unknown. The building is owned by Kiran Patel. When firefighters arrived on site at 83 Main Street, debris from the 2.5-story building could be seen scattered across the street. There was no fire, however, and no one was in the building when it blew up. No injuries were reported, officials stated today. It is the season for all things budget-related as New Hampshire and Vermont school and town boards pore over spending plans. And in Cornish, New Hampshire, yesterday night, school board members got a first-hand look at the proposed 2015-2016 budget. It's nearly the same as the current budget, coming at $3.56 million. Enrollment at the K-8 school continues to decline, with 96 students this year. That compares to 141 students 10 years ago. SAU 6 Superintendent Middleton McGoodwin says balancing student programs with what the community can afford remains the challenge. Establishing full-day kindergarten remains a goal for McGoodwin. To do this, it may mean reducing staff, although the superintendent carefully couched his words to last night's audience. McGoodwin implied that this could happen without actually saying so. First, he wants to meet with the teachers union, the Cornish Education Association. Cornish Education Association now features 2 combined grade classroom settings, grades 1 and 2 and grades 3 and 4. McGoodwin says some strategic changes need to happen to implement full-day kindergarten and study if the combined classrooms are meeting students' learning needs. In a related story, a search for a new principal for the Cornish Elementary School will get underway. Principal Dr. Sylvia Silvret will retire at the end of this school year. A fire last night on Bradford Road in Sunapee severely damaged a home and claimed the life of a family's pet dog. WNTK reported the fire at 17 Bradford Road turned to a 2-alarm blaze, with cold temperatures and gusty winds making conditions worse for firefighters. From 6:30 p.m. until 8 p.m., crews worked the fire scene before declaring it extinguished. Neighbors reported the fire. The homeowners were not home at the time. Could there be help for small business exporters in New Hampshire? Looks like there's bipartisan support to do just that. On the first day of the 114th Congress, Democratic Senator Jeanne Shaheen and Republican Senator Kelly Ayotte reintroduced the Small Business Export Growth Act. It is a bipartisan legislation that supports small businesses and helps them capitalize on export opportunities. Now, it would be accomplished by removing red tape and improving federal export assistance programs. The New Hampshire senators originally crafted the legislation in response to industry feedback at their 2011 Small Business Committee field hearing. Shaheen is a member of the Senate Committee on Small Business and Entrepreneurship and added that exporting represents a tremendous opportunity for small businesses in New Hampshire. She added that if it made it easier for small businesses to reach foreign markets, they can be helped to expand, to create jobs, and grow the state's economy. Senator Ayotte is rejoining the Small Business Committee and stated it is a common sense measure that will help small business owners better navigate the complexities of exporting their products so they can better compete in the global marketplace. The Small Business Export Growth Act specifically works to improve the coordination between federal and state agencies and expands outreach efforts to better inform small businesses about federal resources and export opportunities. The bill now will be referred to the Senate Committee on Small Business and Entrepreneurship. Heating homes in cold weather is a challenge faced every winter across the Twin State region. And today, New Hampshire Congresswoman Annie Kuster renewed her call on Congress and the President to support funding for the Low-Income Home Energy Assistance Program. It provides low-income households with heating assistance to help ensure they have the help to heat during the cold winter months. This program is crucial for many seniors, families, and young children and individuals with disabilities across the state. Last month, Kuster joined Congressman Peter Welch of Vermont and Peter King of New York in sending a letter to President Obama urging him to increase funding for the program in his fiscal year 2016 budget. Vermont U.S. Senator Bernie Sanders introduced legislation this week to authorize a $1 trillion multi-year program to rebuild crumbling roads and bridges and invest in other infrastructure modernization projects. The investment not only would begin to address a growing backlog of badly needed repairs, it also put 13 million Americans to work at decent-paying jobs, that according to Sanders, who will take over this month as the ranking member of the Senate Budget Committee. Sanders stated that America once led the world in building and maintaining a nationwide network of safe and reliable bridges and roads. Today, nearly a quarter of the nation's 600,000 bridges have been designated as structurally deficient or functionally obsolete. The American Society of Civil Engineers estimates that $3.6 trillion would be needed by 2020 to get our nation's infrastructure to a passable condition. More than $1.7 trillion is needed to improve roads, bridges, and transit. More than 30% of the nation's bridges have exceeded their 50-year design life, and almost one-third of America's major roads are in poor or mediocre condition. 42% of major urban highways remain congested. According to Sanders, in Vermont alone, the civil engineers say more than 1/5 of the paved roads are in poor conditions. Sanders stressed that workers need the jobs, and while the economy has improved since the worst days of the recession, millions of Americans are still out of work and looking for jobs. According to the U.S. Department of Labor, the broadest measure of unemployment stood at 11.4% in November. That figure counts workers forced to settle for part-time jobs and others who gave up looking for work. As a new session of Congress gears up, Sanders says infrastructure investment is one area that could win bipartisan support in Congress. After the break, we'll bring you more news from our region.
The YCN News continues in a moment.
Welcome back to YCN News. I'm Laura James. Healthy lifestyles are prevalent across Vermont and New Hampshire. Whether you're hiking a 4,000-footer, going alpine skiing in the Green or White Mountains, maybe taking a spin class, hunting, snowmobile, or just clearing your land or taking a stroll with the kids under the full wolf moon, healthy living involves the outdoors. And in our region, Outside Magazine often has suggestions to maximize everything that lifestyle has to offer. Well, the January 6th edition of Outside Magazine Online had an article which, well, was anything but healthy, so it seemed. It concerned the Beast Burger, and they claimed it was a top-secret food that would change the way we eat. The Beast Burger, seemingly not aptly named, is a vegan burger. That's right, a vegan burger with more protein than beef, more omegas than salmon, tons of calcium, antioxidants, and vitamin B. It's a plant-based protein performance burger with juicy flavor and the texture of the real thing, except without the dietary and environmental downsides. So the company that produces it is called Beyond Meat, a Southern California company, and according to Outside Magazine Online, they shared a bit of their secret ingredients to make the Beast Burger. Powdered pea protein, water, sunflower oil, and various nutrients and natural flavors go into a mixer at one end and they're cooked and pressurized. They get extruded out the back and then are shaped into patties ready to be reheated on consumers' grills. Well, while we haven't tasted them, Outside Magazine reports this nutrient-dense burger is a super substitute for traditional beef burgers. To learn more, you can go to outsideonline.com. In a sports update, it was a victory for a local skier. Mogul queen Hannah Carney of Norwich, Vermont, edged out Canadian sisters Chloe Dufour-Lapointe and Justine Dufour-Lapointe on their home turf to earn her 43rd World Cup victory on Saturday at Canada Olympic Park in Calgary. Carney is now just 3 World Cup wins away from the all-time freestyle moguls record, currently held by U.S. freestyle alumnus Donna Weinbrecht. Carney says it felt good to be back on top of the podium. The U.S. had 4 other women finish in the top 20. It was a good day for the men, too. 3 U.S. skiers finishing in the top 10. The U.S. moguls and aerials teams are both back in action next weekend at the Visa Freestyle International at Deer Valley Resort in Utah. When YCN News returns, we'll join River Valley Chronicles' Elizabeth Gerazio, who spoke with Joe Frazier of the Enfield Shaker Museum.
The YCN News continues in a moment.
Welcome back to YCN News. I'm Laura James. Let's find out how that very chilly forecast is looking for the next few days.
Thanks, Laura. Tonight we'll experience some occasional flurries before 11 p.m. Lows will drop to a frigid 8 degrees. Be sure to stay warm. Wednesday will have a chance of snow showers between 11 a.m. and 4 p.m. with a high near 17. That night it will be partly cloudy with another frigid low of negative 13. The wind chill could reach as low as negative 31 degrees. Thursday should be mostly sunny with a high near 13. Thursday night we may experience a 40% chance of snow showers. Lows will again drop to 8 degrees. And now let's take a look at our community calendar. Tomorrow in Canaan, New Hampshire, the Mascoma Area Senior Center will hold a health and foot clinic from 9 a.m. to noon. Our Savior Lutheran Church in Hanover will host a disaster relief quilting event from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Thursday in Bellows Falls, come join the chess club at the Rockingham Free Public Library. The club will meet from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Remember, you can submit local events from your community by sending them to news@ycnnow.com. Turning to YCN Sports, we have the results from last night's games. In girls basketball, rivals Newport and Stevens competed. Newport pushed ahead with a 50-20 victory. Newport's Alexis Hurd and Nikki Stifler were high scorers with 13 points and 12 points respectively. Stevens will face Fall Mountain on Friday. In boys hockey, Concord defeated Hanover in a 3-1 win. The Marauders scored the first goal in the game. However, Concord passed them in scoring soon after. Hanover's current record is at 3 wins and 5 losses.
Well, thanks so much, Matt. When YCN News returns, we'll join Justin Dane for another great cooking segment.
The YCN News continues in a moment.